Yes. Were they chanting Maoist chants there? That was the violent criminal mob outside the White House 4 years ago, long before the January 6th events. You know, the evacuation of the president, torching the church of the presidents, injuring 160 to 180 police 4 years ago. And, you know, long before they had the endorsement of the Ayatollah and Al-Qaeda. But now they've got that too, the Democrats. Democrats in bed with Al-Qaeda, with the Ayatollah. I like to call him the Ayatollah, not of rock and roll, but... Oh, and speaking of the Ayatollah and Al-Qaeda and the Democrats being in bed with them, it's Pride Month, which is really Gay Pride Month. It's not American Pride Month or anything like that. And there is a great bar in Idaho that's having, what are they calling it? It's going to offend the Democrats, I'll tell you that much. Heterosexual Awareness Month. They're having Heterosexual Awareness Month.
Awesomeness? Heterosexual awesomeness?
I apologize. It's Heterosexual Awesomeness Month. Little dyslexia. You don't see the word awesomeness that often. So, yeah, Heterosexual Awesomeness Month. You get a free tap beer if you go to this bar dressed like a man, and you are a man. See, if you're a woman dressed like a man, I don't think you get the free beer, because that wouldn't be Heterosexual Awesomeness Month, would it? And so they got that. And that's causing them to go crazy, and they're touching themselves. It's a very strange bunch of people. We have a great many things, because there is now a weekend behind us, a weekend in the rearview mirror. And all kinds of things have happened. President Donald Trump raised more money than Croesus, ancient king, more money than Croesus. But he's raised, $200 million since the conviction, and it's a mind-boggling 34 counts because there was a paperwork error of some kind. But they got a lynch mob in New York. The Democrats love lynch mobs. You think they love lynch mobs more than the Ayatollahs or less than the Ayatollahs? Because, you know, on Gay Pride Month, they hang people from cranes in Iran and have them swing around and squirm and kick their legs and things while they choke to death because they're allegedly gay. And then the Democrats here on college campuses and stuff, winning the support of the Ayatollah and of Al-Qaeda, they say they're like queers for Hamas, whatever they're not a bright bunch of people at all. But President Trump, $200 million in shattering all records in political fundraising since the alleged conviction. And President Trump went to a UFC fight in New Jersey over the weekend as well, where he was cheered like the conquering hero, and it was great fun. And the winner of the big fight came over to praise President Trump and get his picture taken with him and say he was going to donate to President Trump and all this good stuff. Joe Biden, in the meantime, was not campaigning because why would he? He's in an iron lung most of the time. He was at one of his multi-million-dollar beach houses in this one in Delaware, and didn't campaign, but he's hanging out with his crackhead, stripper, knocker-upper, baby daddy's son, the kicked out of the Navy, Hunter Biden. And they rode bikes. To show that Joe Biden is very virile. He is virile man. And I couldn't help but be reminded of Chairman Mao Zedong of the Chinese Communist Party, the most prolific mass murderer of humanity in the history of humankind. Chairman Mao, and Democrats wear T-shirts with his face on, have his poster on walls and paintings. Remember I was talking about this, and some lib said, nobody has a painting of Chairman Mao on the wall. And then we had the Democrat staying in the House, and there are pictures. He was being interviewed for a magazine, and there's a big full-color portrait of Chairman Mao on the wall behind him. Who was that? It was a big Obama administration person. But never mind that. They love Chairman Mao, not in spite of the fact that he murdered all those people, but because he murdered all those people. Half of them don't even realize why they love him so much, but we do. We know. So in any case, Hunter Biden and Joe Biden went on a bike ride over the weekend. The weather was very nice. thanks to climate change and the patriarchy. The weather was beautiful, but he went for a bike ride. This time, as far as we know, he didn't fall over, or at least we haven't seen the pictures of him falling over. And, the news media wouldn't make them available if they had them at this point because it's campaign season and the Democrats, that means the media, they got to keep their shoulder behind the wheel, don't they? But Joe Biden riding his bike, and I was reminded of Chairman Mao when Chairman Mao was at the ripe old age of 73 years old, he swam the Yangtze River, surrounded by security personnel who were there to prop him up if he started sinking. The Yangtze River at Wuhan. This is no kidding, at Wuhan. It's a famous propaganda stunt done by Chairman Mao and the communist Chinese way back when Joe Biden was just in his 40s, and Chairman Mao swam the Yangtze River, and to show Chairman Mao is strong like bull, he is virile. He swim river, he is 73 years old, I'm doing not a Chinese accent. I think it's racist to do a Chinese accent, right? But you can do German and Russian accents because they're white, and that makes it okay, right? And Southern accents, you can do that. You can do those accents, but, like, I am the Frito Bandito, that'll get you banned. But it's a funny world out there. Yeah, and Chairman Mao, I think Chairman Mao died at 82, didn't he? And he was very virile at 73, swam the Yangtze River at Wuhan for a propaganda stunt. And over the weekend, Joe Biden rode a bicycle as a propaganda stunt because our news media loves doing propaganda stunts for the Democrat Party and against the Republican Party. So we got all that stuff going. President Trump at UFC, shattering all fundraising records. Joe Biden is still capable of riding a bicycle for a little bit without falling over. Hanging out with his crackhead son, whose trial begins today in Wilmington, Delaware. And he's going to get a jury of his peers. That is, honestly, the President Trump jury trial, New York, and Hunter Biden jury trial, Wilmington, Delaware. They both, they're afforded the same opportunity. Joe Biden will get a jury of 12 of his peers, all of whom voted for Joe Biden in Wilmington, Delaware. And President Trump in Manhattan, he had a jury of his peers, all of whom voted for Joe Biden. Coincidentally, most of them probably donors to Joe Biden. But Hunter Biden facing 3 federal drug, gun charges, got all that stuff. They got 250 potential jurors have been called up, and jury selection should be underway even as we speak in Wilmington, Delaware for Hunter Biden's trial. And it sounds like Dr. Jill Biden, who's not a doctor at all, is going to be in the courtroom to get the, kind of Marie Antoinette thing going there. They want to show who he is. Don't you know who he is? Come on, here's the First Lady with a Secret Service detail in the courtroom. You got to cut him a break. It's Delaware, and it's crooked, and you're all Democrats, so keep that in mind. But Hunter Biden could theoretically face 25 years in prison, plus $750,000 fine, $750,000 fine. I predict that he won't get any of that. He won't do a day in jail. He might pay a little fine, but it's not his money. It's some Chinaman's money. Can you say Chinaman? Some Chinaman. That's a man from China, right? And they funneled millions of dollars to the Biden family. Maybe it'll be some Ukrainian Burisma money that he'll pay his fine with. But one thing's for sure, he didn't earn it. So we got that going. Amazing stuff. And Joe Biden, he's going up to Greenwich, Connecticut today for a big fundraiser that'll cost you $3,300 a head. And maybe they'll let you keep your head. Got that going on. And Joe Biden says that they're going to sign a bunch of executive orders having to do with the border, which Joe Biden said just weeks ago he couldn't possibly do, and that wouldn't have any effect. But now the polls have turned on them. Remember when Barack Obama said that as a Christian, he believes that marriage is between a man and a woman until the gay fundraising money dried up on him. And then he said, what am I, some kind of Christian? I'm nothing like that. And then suddenly he was for gay marriage. And the news media told us he had evolved. Remember that? All he had done is evolved. And now Joe Biden has evolved, and he's going to take executive action that Republicans have been telling him to take for years, since he took executive action to undo all of the executive actions that President Trump had taken to secure our border. And now we got 8 million gang members raping everybody's daughters. Now he's decided to take some executive action. Speaking of Joe Biden showering with his daughter Ashley, who became a sex addict and a drug addict, but that's another story. Also, Democrat Congressman Benny Thompson, he's introduced legislation called the Let's Murder Donald Trump in Prison Act of 2024. And Benny Thompson, dreaming of communism in the United States of America and murdering everybody in gulags, he's introduced a bill that would strip President Trump of his Secret Service protection should President Trump be sent to prison by the Joe Biden donor judge, right? Joe Biden brain donor, judge, Joe Biden donor. It's all very crooked. And Congressman Benny, he's a congressman. You ever see this guy try to explain anything? He's a Democrat member of Congress. And he's got a bill that is designed to get President Trump murdered in prison by stripping him of his Secret Service protection as a former president, because Benny Johnson is a communist and a racist. And this is what the Democrat Party is. They're commies, and they'll end up killing everybody. If you just give them enough rope, they'll hang all of us with it. It's remarkable. Benny Thompson, the what's it called? The Kill President Trump or the Assassinate President Trump Act of 2024. Stripping of Secret Service protection should he go to prison. Keeping in mind that police officer Derek Chauvin, who arrested St. George Floyd of fentanyl, he was stabbed in prison 22 times in an attempted murder by a Democrat in prison, because the Democrats lynched Officer Derek Chauvin, who arrested career criminal George Floyd. And George Floyd, who, according to the coroner, died of cardiac failure. Nothing wrong with his neck, no asphyxiation. None of that was true. But the news media and the Democrats, but I repeat myself, lie about pretty much everything. Extraordinary stuff. So they lynched Derek Chauvin, threw him in prison, and then a racist Democrat stabbed him 22 times. He barely survived. The Democrats and Benny Thompson, Congressman Benny Thompson, who should be removed from Congress for this and probably put on trial. I think everybody should be put on trial at this point. We're going to need more courts, more crooked judges. And also, I was talking about this on Friday, but I do think that every Republican state attorney general and every Republican prosecutor, major and minor jurisdictions across America, should file charges against Joe Biden and just charge him with crimes. It really doesn't matter what the crime is. It could be a paperwork crime that you don't have to explain to the jury, just like in New York, because the Democrats have pulled together the playbook. And now I think Republican attorneys general, state attorneys general, and prosecutors in cities big and small should just start charging Joe Biden with accepting bribes, 10% for the big guy, bringing his son Hunter to China, cutting business deals, then millions flow into the Biden family coffers. Just start charging him with crimes. And the news media will attack the prosecutors and the attorneys general, but that's okay. That doesn't matter. And charge Benny Thompson with crimes, too. Just start charge. There's got to be something you can charge. Since we live in the Soviet bleeping Union now, we can just do the Lavrentiy Beria thing, the KGB chief for Joseph Stalin. Show me the man and I'll show you the crime. All right, well, here's Joe Biden and here's Benny Thompson. Let's just start charging him with crimes. Let's get him arrested. Let's put him on trial. And let's bring Benny Thompson to Montana and put him on trial there with a Montana jury that really wants to put him in prison for 135 years and see what we can get. Because this is what the Democrat Party is. This is what the Democrat Party does. And you must return fire in kind when the commie Democrat Party is lynching all of your political leaders and your neighbors and your mother. It's time to return fire. Speaking of which, Democrats shot 2 police officers in Queens, New York overnight. And there is another police officer murdered, run over by a Democrat career criminal, arrested for murders and stuff. And he's loose on the streets, murdered another state trooper this time. And we've got that going on. The executive editor of the Washington Post was fired, and it's a woman, Sally Busby, and she's fired. She'll get another big Democrat job in no time at all, and she'll sue them and win. We've got just a few. They got Mexico elected a new president, and it's a woman. And the media couldn't be more excited. It's a woman, just like Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, turns out, should have run for president of Mexico. She'd be better off with with a cartel relationship anyway. She could be really anti-American as president of Mexico. That'd be good. So just a few of the things we have for you today. There are many more. A great many more. After the Trump verdict, President Trump joined TikTok. You'll never guess what happened then. Chairman Mao propaganda event for Joe Biden over the weekend. 4 years ago this weekend, the Democrat mob attacked the White House, set the Church of the Presidents on fire. Nobody was sentenced to prison for it. And we are at 888-630-9625. So many amazing stories. Yeah, Benny Thompson, who has no business being in the Congress of the United States. It's also the anniversary of the Democrats murdering retired police captain David Dorn and live streaming his murder as he died. Because the Democrats are the left, and they kill and they steal and they rob and they jail, and then they strip you of your Secret Service protection, hoping to get you murdered by their fellow travelers, Democrat criminals in prison. Amazing. Gosh, look what I've done to the clock, haven't I? I've knocked out the clock again. I'm going to come back to your calls, and we've got this, the complete story of Benny Thompson's bill, the Murder Donald Trump bill, which a whole bunch of Democrats have signed on to, and the media loves because they're not liberals, they're the left. It's an amazing world we're living in. The United States of America has never been like this before. Also, to just see the racist attack in the WNBA. That's the Women's National Basketball Association. And there's a new star in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark. She was violently assaulted in a racist hate crime attack. And that's okay. And also, Anthony Fauci up on Capitol Hill today testifying under oath. He'll lie and get away with it because nobody's held accountable for that. Yeah, and Anthony Fauci, on Capitol Hill today, he'll be under oath. He won't tell the truth, and he won't be held accountable because that's the country we live in 2024. Happens all the time. Ask James Clapper. The list is long of people that go up to Congress and lie under oath. As long as you're a Democrat, that's not an issue. No lynch mob for you, like Benny Thompson. I want to get to this Benny Thompson lunacy in a minute. But yeah, and Fauci and that social distancing stuff and lies, all lies, I tell you. So interesting things going on Capitol Hill, thanks to the Republicans controlling the House. Otherwise, the Democrats, their cover-up would be absolutely complete. They're an extremely corrupt group of people. I think every Democrat voter in America has become corrupt. Is that true, Michael? I think that's true. Michael thinks it's true. He's looking at the ceiling a little. He's rubbing his chin, his beard. All right, let's go to the telephones. We are at 888-630-9625, 9625. Let's go to Rob calling from beautiful Montgomery County, Maryland, which I think is ruled by MS-13 now, isn't it? Rob, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Chris, you're beautiful. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you.
Yeah, the damage is already done. This deal about we're going to issue executive orders. It's all smoke and mirror. It always is with this character, with this mob of people that are currently running the show down there. And it's not him anyway. He doesn't even know what he's having for breakfast every day.
Right.
So it's other people, as most people that have any grain, like you said, of common sense. would understand. But no, this is the damage is already done. We have all the people from the insane asylums from all over the world. All the miscreants and felons and you name it, we got it. Toyota plus all these Chinese nationals. And I was telling Jasmine when I was at Shady Grove, the transit station. Okay. I was in a vehicle. I'll just say that. And I'm looking across the sidewalk, and I see 5 guys there, all right, all military-age men, 18, early 20s, okay? Let's put it this way. I've lived in Montgomery County my whole life. I'm 68. My mom and dad had a business on Ennells Avenue in Wheaton, across from Modern Auto Body. There used to be a real good seafood restaurant. You might recall that, called Anchor Inn. Some other places, but the whole place has changed into something that's unrecognizable.
Yeah. The fundamental transformation of America. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, now that metro stop is now called Shady Grave. They've changed.
You're not too far off with that. That's pretty close.
Yeah, and the gangs all kind. Montgomery County, beautiful tree-lined suburban county outside of Washington, D.C., which it now really is. I mean, Montgomery County has MS-13 up the yin-yang. Every now and then a teenage girl will be hacked to death with machetes and left along the Potomac River. And that happened in just outside of Georgetown in Washington, D.C. not too long ago.
Yes,
and,
it did.
And the Democrats could care less. I mean, they genuinely and authentically do not care about human life and hold the United States of America in contempt. Michael Piercy, who's sitting across from me right now, last week was leaving the radio station, the WMAL mothership in Washington, D.C., going over to the metro, and there was a table set up just a couple blocks from the radio station with the Communist Party, the Socialist Workers' Party, with their red banner and their signs, and they're handing out, paraphernalia. They're handing out reading materials and things. And there are some white, 20-something lefties that set up a banquet table outside of the entrance to the metro stop there. And here's the photograph now. Destroy the planet or destroy capitalism is one of the big signs. People who oppress another people can never be free. These are the things they have. Ask us about socialism and revolution. And there's a white guy there with a red T-shirt on, naturally, with his commie propaganda, and a black guy standing there talking to him, looking like, what are you guys talking about? All right, you're all nuts. And Spark, to solve global warming, the working class has to take power. And it's got a red tablecloth because they're communists and they say they're socialists. The Soviet Union was the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, not communist republics. They call it, and then they murdered 30 million of their own people, stole everything, turned it into a slave ship. If you tried to leave, it was called an escape. And now they're here, and we call them Democrats, don't we, Rob?
Yes, Chris, your cup runneth over. I have one small tidbit here also. I went to West Virginia yesterday with a 90-year-old friend from Boonesboro, Maryland, and a professor of archaeology and world history that retired from Hood College in Frederick. I call it Fredneck. I shouldn't do that. But anyway, that's kind of a bad comment. Anyway, we went to a real good restaurant over in West Virginia, and there was a young lady waiting on us, and just drop dead gorgeous, real nice girl. And she's going to University of West Virginia. And so the professor said, hey, I want to see something here. Let's just see what happens. And he asked her, just in passing, do you know who Joseph Stalin was? She said, no. And I mean, she was a complete blank. Now, here's a business major, and she's a nutritionist and all these other things. And it's like, no, the young generations, they don't have a clue.
Yeah.
They don't have a now. These are educated kids now. I'm not talking about. This is the whole cornucopia of this.
Yeah,
it's all. This has all happened within really to the point of where we are now within the last 20 years. It's insanity.
Yeah, it's information
I guess
dominance.
we'll find out if the American people want more of it. So,
Information dominance and cultural dominance that the left has secured in the United States, and the teachers' unions, and they've corrupted our educational system. And kindergarteners are getting gender queer books, which is a how-to guide for gay child molestation. And they got the transgender twerking for first graders because Democrats, and after school Satan Club is no longer enough. Now you got to have it during school hours and during class, the Satan Club. And this is today's Democrat Party. They are not on our side, but they have won the endorsement of the Ayatollah in Tehran. They've won the endorsement of Al-Qaeda last week, putting out a statement supporting the Democrat Party and the protests on college campuses. Vladimir Putin has endorsed Joe Biden for president twice, and the Democrats laugh and shrug and say, well, you can't take seriously anything Putin says. No, actually you can, and you should, because, the Democrat Party is the enemy within. They're inside the wire, inside the fence line, and they've seized control like an invading army of radio, television, and education, which is what an invading army would do to any country that they attacked and conquered. And the left started that program many years ago. And you're right, now this lovely young lady going to University of West Virginia who never heard the name Joseph Stalin, and she's a college student. That is too easily stumped, I think, but knowing nothing about the 20th century leaves you ill-prepared to function properly in the 21st century. And I love, Rob, the full name of Adolf Hitler's Nazi Party is one that stumps Harvard graduates all over the place. Well, they were the Nazi Party. Well, yeah, that's shorthand. What was the actual full name of Adolf Hitler's party? And almost nobody gets that.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing.
National Workers' Party.
Yeah, the National Socialist German Workers' Party. And so they were in Germany. We knew that. They're national. We knew that. They're a Socialist Workers' Party. And that is what Bernie Sanders and the Democrats are pushing in the United States and on college campuses, is the new Socialist Workers' Party. And now they're jailing their political enemies. And they're still, I just learned this morning that last year the Justice Department arrested more people for January 6th, which was in 2021, January 6th, 2021. And they arrested more people last year than they did the year before. They're still rounding up people from January 6th. And I opened with audio of the Democrats 4 years ago this week attacking the White House, injuring 160 to 180 police officers between the Uniform Division of the Secret Service, the U.S. Park Police, and Washington, D.C., the D.C. Metropolitan Police. Injured 160 to 180 police officers. They set fire to the Church of the Presidents, St. John's Church, one of the most historic churches in the United States. I think it's an 1815 church across from the White House, Lafayette Park, attended by presidents ever since.
A terrible scene. Fires burning here along H Street. We do smell, oh boy, oh boy, we're getting tear gassed. And unfortunately, I can add just a moment ago, it does appear that St. John's Church is on fire.
There we go, and nobody was sentenced to there was not a single jail term out of that, and there were hundreds of Democrats showed up with M80s, throwing them at the police, injuring the police, permanent damage. An M80 would blow your hand clean off and leave a stump if you clenched it in your fist and let it. They brought crates of frozen water bottles, orchestrated, organized, that same thing they were doing in cities across the country because it was a national organization that the Democrats brought, injuring thousands of police, billions in property damage. And again, 3 days wasn't exactly Woodstock of violence and anti-police. And because it was anti-Trump, the Justice Department is not looking for any of those people. And that was 4 years ago this weekend, and nobody got a single jail sentence out of that.
Peaceful protest. Yes, peaceful. It's the fifth column, Chris.
It is.
You know, we have the fifth column running the show for the Democrat Party. They're not even the Democrat Party anymore, as far as I'm concerned. But listen, thank you so much, and bless you for what you do for all of us. Thank goodness there's some normalcy on the airways.
Remember normal. Always remember normal. Rob, at the Chris Plant store online, we have coffee mugs and T-shirts say "Remember normal" because it's slipping away. And this young woman at the University of West Virginia, she doesn't remember normal. The Democrats have made sure that a generation is coming up that has no idea what normal is or what normal was, because they're here to sack, loot, and plunder. Rob, thank you very much. Have a great Montgomery County, Maryland day.
Thank you. You as well.
All right.
You're in D.C., so thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, I'm inside the wire, too. It's crazy. Thank you. Now, I want to get to Benny Thompson. Congressman Benny Thompson is a Democrat from Mississippi, and I think Joe Biden would probably not say of Benny Thompson that Benny Thompson is one of the first mainstream black guys to come along who's articulate and bright and clean.
As you know, weaponization is a new code word.
That's right. That's Congressman Benny Thompson. I'm sorry, weaponization. He's a member of Congress in the United States of America, national political leadership, Democrat Party style. And here is the story from the Clarion Ledger. Trump Secret Service protection could be removed under Benny Thompson bill. Now, we've talked about this many times. If the Democrat lynch mob were to, after ginning up 34 felony counts having to do with a paperwork issue because he paid his lawyer and listed it under legal expenses. And I think that's the crime. Now, you'd think, well, isn't it okay to pay your lawyer under legal expenses? Yes, you'd be correct in assuming that. But let me get back to this. The Dateline is Washington. Democrat Congressman Benny Thompson from Mississippi, the ranking member of the Committee on Homeland Security, meaning if the Democrats won the House back, he'd be the chairman of the Committee on Homeland Security. And then, weaponization would be the new normal of the day. The ranking member of the House Committee on Homeland Security introduced legislation that would remove Secret Service protection from anyone, there's only one person, convicted of a felony and sentenced to prison. There is only one person with Secret Service protection that has been convicted of 34 felonies for what they say is a paperwork miscalculation. Hunter Biden must go to prison for 25 years. With no Secret Service protection, because he gets Secret Service protection as the son of the president right now. Once his father is, once he falls down a flight of stairs after Hillary Clinton shoves him, then he won't be president anymore. Hunter Biden won't get any more Secret Service protection. But according to a news release, listen to this horse pucky. I'll say pucky. They love backronyms. They come up with the word that they want to label the bill as, and then they come up with a fake group of words so they can spell out the words. And Benny Thompson, I'm convinced, is not intelligent enough to come up with this, so he paid some other idiot, corrupt leftist to do it. The denying infinite security and government resources allocated toward convicted and extremely dishonorable former protectees act, right? That spells the word disgraced, right? And it's Disgraced Former Protectees Act, H.R. 8081, which is a code, 8081, to Putin, to their friend Putin, would reform the U.S. Secret Service protective mission by automatically terminating Secret Service protection for those who have been sentenced to prison following conviction for a federal or state felony. This applies only to one person, clarifying that prison authorities would be responsible for protecting the former president of the United States. The bill would remove the potential for conflicting lines of authorities within prison to allow judges to weigh the sentencing of individuals without having to factor in the logistical concerns of convicts with Secret Service protection. Deutschland, über alles, Sieg Heil, Benny Thompson. Your brain is smaller than I thought. You're a dangerous criminal. I think a state attorney general or prosecutor anywhere in America should charge Benny Thompson with felonies today and have him thrown into handcuffs and dragged away. Solitary confinement, no legal representation, just like January 6th. Supported by a panoply of other Democrats, including Barbara Lee, Frederica Wilson, Jasmine Crockett. This is a gang of communist criminals who are a lynch mob. They want him murdered in prison. This is their goal, and the news media loves it too. America 2024, it's an election year. I think it's important that Republican prosecutors and attorneys general across the country start charging Joe Biden and Benny Thompson with felonies. It really doesn't matter what the crimes are, just charge them. The Democrats have shown us the way, the so-called Democrats, the anti-Democrats, the undemocrats. Aren't they amazing? So many extraordinary stories to get to. And this, Michael and I were just talking, we should come up with an acronym of some kind that matches LGBTQ. Let's get Joe Biden to quit. Let's get Joe Biden thrown in prison. We'd have to come up with some kind of a thing, you know. Oh, it is. Oh, speaking of which, the Biden Pentagon has jumped all in with Gay Pride Month, which is the month of June. There is no American Pride Month. None of that. No American Flag Pride Month. They burn the American flag. And if you fly it upside down as a sign of distress, then that's the end of the world. Because the Democrats prefer to just burn the American flag. Remarkable things. Yeah, and we should come up with an act. We've got with a ridiculous acronym that Benny Thompson with his weaponization won't understand. That should be easy.